Hi, I'm Kelly and welcome to Kapowski Reads, and this is my first week back at work, and I thought I'm going to treat myself. I'm going to treat myself to starting the year right with the books that I want to read the most. And what I crave in literature right now is chaos. I want chaos. I have two books I am hoping to read over this vlog, and only one of them really fits in with my reading goals. The other one, I just really want to read. But it does fit with my TBR because I had a mood read. There's also a fly. I opened the door to let the cat in and a fly came in. So that's fun. The first book that I want to read in this vlog is A Touch of Jen by Beth Morgan. I'm going to be reading this on my Kindle. I've had it for a little while and I just haven't gotten round to it. Classic. This focuses on the relationship that Remy and Alicia, who both work in the service industry, the relationship that they have both with each other and with Jen, who they are kind of obsessed with. Jen used to work with Remy, so he knew her, whereas Alicia is just like, I only know her from Instagram. But they are not even just interested in Jen's life, they are obsessed with her. This book is described as being a millennial social comedy slash psychedelic horror, and I'm here for that. That sounds amazing. I have actually started this book and already I'm buckled in. Already I'm kind of getting the vibe that I'm not going to like anyone in this book, but I'm going to like the story and I'm going to enjoy the journey, just not the passengers. Well, no, I'm going to like the characters, but not in a way that I would want to spend time with them, in a way that they're fun to read about, but wow, you don't want to be friends with them. I only know one person who's read this and they did not enjoy it, but I don't know, it sounds a bit like it's maybe a kind of Marmite book. I'm ready to see, may the odds be ever in my favour that I do like it. I also am hoping to read the book that I've perched behind me, The Goddess Effect by Sheila Yasmin Marakar. This is on my January TBR. So actually, this vlog is going to be two books from my January TBR. Ding ding, winning the year already. Good for me. This is about Anita, who moves from New York to Los Angeles and finds herself kind of chasing this dream of working for Gonzo, which is like a media place. She's a journalist. I know nothing about journalism. Media place. And she finds herself embraced, shall we say, by the Goddess Effect, which sounds a lot like a culty wellness club. This, I think, is going to be a little bit like, I've really been getting into beauty horror, like with natural beauty, youth juice, rouge. And this, I think, is maybe a little bit like wellness horror. And if that's the case, yippee, that sounds amazing. Yeah, that's my plan. It is snowy right now. It's cold because it's Aberdeen and it's winter. Winter's truly here. It's snowy today. It was snowy yesterday. It's meant to be snowy for the next week or so. And it's going to be cold. And I'm going to be wearing a lot of cozy socks. I do need to go outside because I need to pick up some library books. But I don't want to go outside, but it's cold. That's a task for the weekend. I have also been doing Veganuary and I'm only a couple of days in and it's already, I'm having a good time. I made a chickpea pancake, one of my favorite things to eat for breakfast when I was vegan all those years ago, and it was tasty, and I've just been eating a lot of nice things, which is all one could ask for. I'm going to go back to work and I'm going to come back with an update on, well, either if I finish A Touch of Jan or if I make progress in this. I haven't started this yet, but I'm excited. I'll be back in a bit. I might add some pictures of the snow. I'll probably do that. It's quite pretty. I think we can ring "Is there a first book of the year" klaxon. Let's say there is, and then ding, 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 ding. That's not what noise a klaxon makes. I have finished my first book of 2025 and I am starting the year the way that I want to continue. I loved my book. I finished A Touch of Jan and I pleasantly surprised by this book. I'm gonna dither on it. It's not a 5-star, but it's not a 4-star. So I think we're gonna be like 4.5, 4.25, which when you consider I started 2024 with a 1-star read, such an improvement. I feel like this book is going to be very polarizing, and I know I'm late to the party and it already has been polarizing, which I think is reflected by it having quite a low rating on Goodreads. I think it's like 3.5 stars, because this book is, I don't want to say this book is insane, but this book is kind of insane. It started off fair enough, like we've got this couple, Remy and Alicia. They have an unhealthy obsession with Jen, who is Remy's ex-colleague. They go through her social media and like lol at her ridiculousness, but they also incorporate like some role play into their romantic life, and that features Jen, which is a little bit weird. This book is split into sections and each section gets progressively more and more unhinged, and I love that. After our introduction, both Alicia and Remy find themselves on a surfing trip with Jan and get to kind of meet the idol, if you will. And what we as the reader gets to find out is that Jan is not a nice person. Jan is deeply unpleasant, but also so is Remy. And Alicia, I don't feel is as unpleasant, but she is somebody who maybe needs a little bit of help. But Remy, Jan, both awful, except Jan kind of admits that she's awful. During the surfing trip, I got such a secondhand cringe, like in a good way. Like it was, I wanted to keep reading because I wanted to see what like what bizarre behavior was going to happen next. It must have, I would love if there was just a little paragraph from the perspective of somebody else on that trip. Like, just, you know, Sage, what were they thinking about what was going on? It was so bizarre. And I love that. I love a book where I'm reading it being like, oh, these people are all awful. They're awful people doing awful things. And it was such an entertaining read. After the surfing trip, the dial for chaos was just turned up a whole bit. I did not expect the book to go where it went. I thought the book was maybe going to go somewhere else, and I kept forgetting this book was billed as horror, because the horror did not start, with the exception of the horrific behavior and the secondhand embarrassment. The horrors did not kick in until maybe like 70% through the book, and when they came I was like, oh yeah, this is a horror. And it was such a fun read because it was so unexpected and it didn't really give any hints to what was going to happen. I absolutely just, I had such the best time with this book. It was so weird but wonderful. I love a truly flawed character, and everybody in this book, yeah, there was maybe one person I was rooting for and they were such a side character, but kind of, oh, he was a wee sweetheart. But other than that, you wouldn't want to be friends with any of these people, but you would want your friend to know them. Sort of like chaos reality TV kind of situation where you don't want to be involved, but you want to know what's happening. because you like a little bit of entertainment. I had the best time with this book. I am starting on a high. Very, very excited about finishing my next book. I'm only like a quarter or so through The Goddess Effect, but I feel I'm at the point where it's gonna begin, and I'm very, very excited about that. My plan over the weekend, well, today's Saturday, the rest of the weekend is to read some more of The Goddess Effect. I might not finish it till Monday, but that's okay. I'll be in the office, so it's something to do before I start work. I will be back with an update in a little bit. I think we have to sound the klaxon again. Ding, 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 ding. Again, I still do not know what this imaginary klaxon sounds like. I have finished another book and I absolutely loved The Goddess Effect. 5 stars. 5 stars you're getting. I meant to come back and give like a partial update, but life happened, work happened, headaches happened, so I didn't. I'm just coming back to you now, having finished the book. I loved it. I think I did say what this book was about, but I can't remember. So just in case I didn't, this book focuses on Anita, who, off the back of a breakup, kind of lost her love of New York and she's moving to Los Angeles in search of a new career. She's got her heart set on working for a company called Gonzo, which sounds a little bit like BuzzFeed movies, kind of journalisty. And on her search, she finds herself caught up in a workout class for the elite. It's full of sort of your Real Housewives kind of characters, and it's called The Goddess Effect. Frankly, the workouts, they sound horrible. And I used to do CrossFit. I used to get up at 5:15. Well, no, I used to get up earlier. I used to do the 5:15 WOD at CrossFit 5 days a week. And I still couldn't do a pull up. Some people just aren't meant to be strong, like me. Anita finds herself just totally caught up in the excitement of the Goddess Effect and in the lifestyles of her workout mates, which are so different to her own. And everything kind of kicks off when she goes off on this wellness retreat. But prior to the wellness retreat, we have got a bit more than just the goings on, the inner drama of, the hoity toity, the wealthy. We get to know Anita a bit better and realize that she is sort of fighting within herself between what she thinks she has to do in order to be a good daughter and what she wants for herself and what she thinks she wants for herself, but she's not quite sure. And she's also coping with a huge amount of just jealousy. Her friends are moving on and achieving things that she kind of thought that she might have for herself, and she's not where she thought she was going to be at this point in her life. And I thought that that was just quite relatable to be, in your 30s, not knowing where you want to be or realizing you're not where you thought you were going to be. And there's no guide, there's no set timeline. But I really liked that. This book was very light, but also had those moments of realism of Anita dealing with the passing of her father and kind of feeling a little like, I have all these obligations, but I kind of want to do other things. I loved the friendships in this book. We have got Anita. She makes friends with these very, very wealthy people that she wouldn't have met probably in real life. And it was quite nice seeing their friendship grow. I feel like Anita gave as good as she got in this book. She had a little bit of concern that, oh, am I just, the token not white person? Am I, fulfilling a quota? But also at the same time was like, if I am going to rinse you for everything I can. And I was like, good for you. Good for you. She got this big sack full of Lululemon last season sportswear, got an elite fitness gym membership paid for her. Like, get your bag, Anita. Good for her. This was such a slow tension building book. I knew chaos was coming. And I thought the chaos was being brought to me by Anita, who was not okay. I thought she was going to cause her own downfall. She was a very interesting character, had a lot of issues, and maybe didn't have the best way of dealing with certain things. But on the whole, I found her to be so, so likable and just flawed, but in a real person kind of way. When the chaos kicked in, I loved it. I kind of thought this was going to be a little bit like Rouge, a little bit like Natural Beauty. I'm loving sort of beauty horror, and I thought this was going to be like a wellness horror, and it kind of was, but not in the way I was expecting it to be, but still in a way that made me gasp, made me go and get my partner so I could explain the the plot twist in this book. He's not going to read it, but I really had to talk to somebody about it. It's utterly chaotic, but in a realistic way. The plot twist in this book was both completely out of the blue, so unrealistic, but yet I would believe it if this was in the news and someone was like, "Can you believe XYZ?" I'd be like, "Yes. Yes, I can. I believe in a world where goop exists, that the things in this book could probably exist at the same time." This was an absolute joy to read, so light, so quick paced, and I just could not put it down, and I loved it. I highly recommend this book, and I did recommend both of these books, this and A Touch of Jan, when I had my monthly catch up with my friends, our little book club chat, our blather, and I raved about both of these books. Even though I don't know necessarily if my friends would like them, I think they might like this one a bit more than A Touch of Jan, but I loved them both. And I am so happy to be starting the year feeling strong, like not physically. There's snow on the ground. I can barely breathe outside. I'm not feeling physically strong or particularly mentally strong right now, but I'm feeling like my reading is going great. And that's kind of something. I'd love to know what you've been reading lately. If you've read any of the two books I've mentioned in this vlog, or if you're interested in them, do let me know. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!